Hello, this is Pat Cahill from Pat Cahill Metalworks, and today we're going to make a cuff bracelet. And the main thing we're going to concentrate on is doing rivets. So what I did was make this template of the components I'm going to need, and you can do it in PowerPoint or whatever you have on your computer, and then stick it down to the piece. I'm going to use copper. In this case, it's going to be 20 gauge, could be 18, probably would be better, but I had some 20 gauge, so I used that. And I'm going to saw out these components, and we'll go on to the next step after that. So let me saw those out, and I will be right back. Okay, so we have these sawed out, and we're ready to start on the next step. So what we're going to do is we're going to rivet at these points I already have. You see, like that. Put some rivet, rivet, rivet. And then go to the next stage. Here to get rivet, 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 and onward. There are two odder pieces that are for the ends. Well, no, they're not odd, but as you can see, we have one that has the point and a flat end, and another one that has the chevron inside with a flat end. You can see that. So let me get ready to get all set up for that, and I'll bring you back. So the first thing we want to do is mark our top points where we're going to do the rivets with a center hole punch. And then we can take off the paper. Because if you try to put, I did this in the beginning where I tried to leave the paper on so I could get a good exact match where I want it to be. Getting the paper out is a pain in the butt. It can come out, but it is. So let me get ready. And the other thing I'm going to do too while I'm off camera is I'm going to clean up all the edges so they're all nice and smooth. So I'll see you in a bit. Okay, so the next step we're going to do is drill holes where we've made our punch marks. These holes are going to be 1 millimeter because I'm going to use 18 gauge wire. So a lot of this is kind of done in like an assembly line. Get all your center holes done. Now the one mistake you don't want to do is drill all your holes. The side holes. Let me bring this back. You just want to drill just the top holes. That's it. You don't want to drill the side or anything like that. So I cleaned it up. I've drilled my top holes in, and I've also marked a 1/4 inch on each side so I know exactly how far to go in to the piece. So I will match that with the corner here, and that will be the way I will index them, so they will all stay the same bit apart. Overlap just that much, and exactly that much each time. You want it uniform. So our next step is to begin the riveting process. So that's going to go like that, that's going to go like that, and so on, all the way down. And I have a few more, quite a few more over there. But so we line it up. So the square on both sides. we already have a hole in the top. So now we just want to make our hole on the bottom piece. Simple as that. So now we're ready to begin to do the riveting. And there's a lot of, you can use rivets that are already sort of pre-made for you. I'm just going to use this wire, sterling silver, 18 gauge. It should fit in. If it's a little tight here, and it is, that's fine. What one does in that case is we use a ball burr that's exactly 1 millimeter, just to loosen it up a little bit. And I will do that. This barely does nothing, well, barely, but it does just clean up the sides so that your wire will fit in there nice and snug. Because you do want your wire to fit nice and snug. To get the best rivet possible. So, here we go. Our first one. You can go on top or on bottom. Well, actually, you want to go this one on top. But whatever you do, whatever you decide, make sure that you continue that all the way along. So it fits in nice now, as you can see. And this will go into here nicely. Yep, and there's where we're going to form our rivet. But let's get our piece of wire ready for that. Doesn't want to come out. That's good. So here's what I do, and again, I think I've talked about this before. This is one of the two of these miter jigs that I have, and this one I beat up on, use it for a lot of things, and the other one I keep pristine, so I don't do any of this type of stuff that I'm doing here on that one, that's for sure. So what I've done is put it in to the miter jig. So it's you don't need much. You don't need that much, and that's one thing I'm going to say many times over and over again during this riveting tutorial, is that you want to be careful never to have too long a piece that you're trying to splane out, because it won't work. What will happen is you'll bend it like you have a bent nail, and it won't look good, and you'll have to start all over. Okay, so I have that. I want to put a little mushroom shape on top of that. There we go. That will form the bottom of the rivet, and the top will do the same thing. So you can see that is sort of mushroomed over. Okay, put it to the bottom, up to the top. That looks good. And now we want to cut that off. Cut it off quite low. Again, the one thing about rivets is you don't want to have too much extension. And I could be using a smaller file here, but file it down. So that's probably, what would that be? Do it in millimeters. talking like 1.5 to 2 millimeters. And then just hammer it. And there's your nice rivet. Now, this one will still turn, and that's good because it's not riveted on the other portions, the two sides, but that's what we will do next. So the next step is to mark out where you want your rivets, and I know that that is where it starts. You would think that you'd want to punch your holes beforehand, but you really don't. It'd just be so much easier and more consistent if you just do it. So what I'm doing right now is I'm going on the quarter inch line, and I'm coming in 1/8 of an inch. You can actually bring it down so that you take into account the thickness of the hole punch. And there's my first punch. And again, bring it down to set it on the mark we have, or the corner. You can use the corner as your judge, and we want to do it 1/8 of an inch. There we go. So now drill holes through both of them, and we'll be ready to rivet again. So I probably have my ball burr on there right now, but that's no problem. When you're drilling holes, use a lot of lubrication on your drill bit. Give it a longer life and make it work a lot better. Okay. So I'm going to do that one side before I do this other side. And it's the same process again. The nice thing about doing a project like this is by the time you get done with it, you're going to get pretty good at making rivets. So again, put it in my miter jig, right the little nook that allows for the round, and I'm going to get a little less of a file out here if I can find it, which, there we go. So file it down to about 2 millimeters, 1.5 millimeters, 2 millimeters. Just eyeball it. Form that little mushroomed end. Now these holes might be hard to get into the other ones, so we might have to use our ball burr again, but let's try. No, I'm going to have to use it. So switching between bits is a little tedious, but okay. So we're back. Put it through. Push it down so it's nice and flush. Make sure it's nice and flush on the back. And then we cut it off again. You can cut it off too long if you want to. Just make sure that you go back and file it down so this, as I said, about 1.5 to 2 millimeters high. Okay, there we go. There's our second one. And we're on to the third now. It's pretty sturdy. So I can try to just go in the ball burr. Getting a little lazy. But it won't cut through as quickly, so. And your go through your ball burrs a little quick. Although ball burrs are pretty cheap when it comes to the different types of burrs that one uses. Okay. I'm going to assume I'm going to need to clean up the edges with the ball burr. Okay, there we go. And same process all over again. So this is, I'm doing it a few times just to make sure you understand. There are other ways, I'm sure, of doing it, but this is my way. I guess the one thing I would try to find an alternative to is what I do with this. But, and I'm sure there are other, you can buy prefab sort of riveting material. Okay, so again, down to about 1.5 to 2 mils. Hammer it over. Most of the things I'm doing with this actual part for doing rivets using the miter jig, they won't hurt your miter jig. It's when I use the sandpaper on it, that's a no-no. And just basically mistreat it. Okay, so that's going to be our third. Cut it off. Even if you think you have the right size, still give it a slight filing so you have a nice flat top. Okay, and there's our third. So there's 3. And you can go on the back. They won't look as good, but they will form the bottom of the cup anyway. So that's the first one. And the second one will go on just like that one, like this. And we'll keep going and going until we have a cuff. And so that's what this whole show's been about. It's been about how you make a rivet. Alright, so that's that. Then we'll do our 2 sides just like we did before. And we'll be on to the next piece, which will go here. And we'll keep going. So I'm going to cut now. The next thing you're going to be seeing is me buffing up and showing you the final result. So hopefully this has been a riveting video for you. And I'll be right back. Okay, so there it is. Nice riveted cuff. There's the back, and there's the front, and there's the rivets. Like I said, the sides have been smoothed down. So, I think it makes a pretty cool cuff. It's kind of a, you know, plate armor or something, I don't know. But there you go. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you learned something about doing rivets. And I hope to see you again sometime soon. Thank you very much. Bye.